The rise of the super pig, Brazil's invasion. Slow aerial shot. A golden Brazilian sunrise glows over endless fields of soy and corn. Birds scatter from the treetops. In the distance, silence, then movement. It started more than 3 decades ago. Back then, no one could imagine that a small decision, the import of a few European wild boars, would grow into one of Brazil's greatest ecological nightmares. These animals were meant for hunting farms, symbols of prestige and adventure. But some escaped. And from those few fugitives, an army was born. They bred. They adapted. And when they crossed with local domestic pigs, they created a new creature altogether, the Java porco, what many now call super pigs. ACT1, the birth of a beast. In the heart of Brazil, nature is rich, wild, and fertile, the perfect cradle for survival. The escaped boars found paradise here, food in abundance, predators few, and endless land to roam. Crossbreeding with domestic pigs gave them something terrifying, hybrid vigor. They became larger, faster, more intelligent, and almost impossible to contain. Today, from just a handful of animals, their numbers have exploded to more than 2.5 million, spread across 22 states. Wherever there are farms, there are footprints. Wherever there is food, there is destruction. ACT2, the footprints of chaos. A night in the Brazilian countryside. A farmer wakes to the sound of metal tearing. In the pale light of dawn, he walks out to see fences crushed, irrigation pipes ripped apart, and the soil plowed by tusks like miniature bulldozers. Months of work, gone overnight. The Java porco doesn't just feed that it annihilates. A single herd can destroy hectares of soybeans and corn in hours. Barbed wire fences, meant to guard these fields, are nothing to them. They crash through like waves against reeds. Farmers have learned one harsh truth. Against the super pig, no fence stands forever, repairing the damage is another nightmare, thousands of. And the emotional toll. That's something no number can measure. You can see it in the faces of farmers, weary eyes staring at ruined land. Their voices crack not from age, but from exhaustion. ACT3, when technology fails. At first, people turn to modern solutions. Electric fences. High-tech traps. Night patrols. Some tried using thermal drones to detect the pigs under moonlight, their glowing bodies moving across the fields like ghosts. Others experimented with poisons, but the risk was too great. Poison doesn't discriminate. It kills wildlife, livestock, even pets. And it poisons the earth itself. Guns. Too expensive. Too dangerous. Too slow. When there are millions of pigs, you can't shoot your way out of the problem. And so, modern technology failed. Farmers needed something older, something simple, physical, and permanent. ACT4, the return of an ancient defense. Desperation led to invention. An invention led back to the past. The farmers turned to one of humanity's oldest tools of defense, the ditch. But not the kind you're imagining. Not small, muddy channels dug with shovels. No, these are trenches, carved by giant excavators, designed with laser precision. Each trench, 2 meters deep, 3 meters wide, stretching for kilometers. They are walls made of earth. Silent guardians. ACT5, the Project of Hope, Soyeria. In the state of Mato Grosso do Sul, 14 farmers came together. They pooled their money, their time, and their hope. Their plan, to dig a 4.6-kilometer-long ditch around 3 massive fields, soybeans, corn, and pastureland. They called it Soyeria. A mix of soybean and barricade. A joke, yes, but also a declaration. That their land would no longer be the Boars' buffet. Sound, excavators rumbling, metal scraping earth. When the first trench was complete, the farmers waited. Weeks passed. Then months. And then, Results came like a miracle. Boar attacks dropped from 28 incidents a month to just 3. Infrastructure repair costs fell by 92%. Crop yields rose by 18%. For the first time in years, the farmers smiled again. Their fields were green. Their tractors worked uninterrupted. And trucks lined up at harvest time, loaded with abundance. The message was clear. Sometimes, a shovel is mightier than a gun. ACT 6, the cost of the earth. But every victory comes with a cost. Some tractors, even harvesters, have fallen into trenches when warning signs were missed. The ditches, while effective, turned into hidden hazards for humans too. And in mountainous or rocky areas, the cost of construction triples, as farmers must use explosives to break stone and hard clay. Still, they continue. Because they've seen the alternative, and it's far worse. ACT 7, the moral dilemma. But one question echoes in every town hall, every late-night farm meeting. If we block the pigs, where do they go? When the trenches rise, the boars are trapped. Do they starve? Do they move to the next farm? Do we simply push the problem elsewhere? Some biologists warn that starving herds could lead to mass die-offs, creating new problems, disease, decay, and imbalance. But others argue that these trenches don't kill. They simply redirect. They buy farmers time to harvest, to protect, to plan. ACT 8, the machines of the night. To make sure the trenches hold, new allies have joined the fight, machines. Drones equipped with thermal cameras patrol the skies at night, spotting movement from miles away. Autonomous robots patrol the ditches, checking soil pressure and repairing weak spots before they collapse. It's a marriage of the old and the new. Earth and AI. Shovel and sensor. And together, they're reshaping Brazil's agricultural war zone. Within 3 growing seasons, 8 farms reported saving over 3.2 million Brazilian reais in losses. Productivity increased steadily, not because of fancy chemicals or imported tech. But because of earth, teamwork, and human. ACT 9, the emotional core. But behind every ditch and drone is a story of human emotion. There's Rafael, a farmer who lost his land 3 times to Java porco herds. He said, "I used to dream about them. Every night, I'd wake up thinking I heard them outside. Now, he sleeps peacefully, his field surrounded by a wall of earth." There's Lucia, who cried the first morning she saw her soybeans untouched. She said, "It was like seeing your child safe after a storm." And there's Paulo, who now teaches others how to dig trenches. He calls them walls of hope. Because for him, it's not about money. It's about dignity, about fighting back when nature seems unbeatable. ACT 10, Lessons of the Land. The Java porco has changed Brazil forever. It's forced farmers to rethink everything: defense, cooperation, and coexistence. These creatures are intelligent, fearless, and adaptive. They can outsmart traps, swim rivers, climb fences, even coordinate as a herd. But they've also taught humanity something profound. Survival is not always about domination. Sometimes, it's about adaptation, ours, not theirs. ACT 11, the symbol of the shovel. Today, if you ask a Brazilian farmer how they fight the super pigs, they won't say, guns. They won't say, poison. They'll say, shovels. Because they've learned that technology can fail, money can run out. But human ingenuity never does. The shovel, the excavator, the trench, they've become symbols. Symbols of hope. Of community. Of the unbreakable bond between humans and the soil beneath their feet. The old ways still matter. Because sometimes, the simplest ideas save the most lives. ACT 12, the bigger picture. Brazil's story isn't isolated. Across the world, in North America, Europe, Australia, and Asia, wild boars are rewriting ecosystems. But Brazil's farmers have shown that ancient methods, when paired with modern creativity, can still protect both livelihood and land. What started as a desperate measure has now become a movement. Neighboring states are adopting trench networks. Governments are studying the soy model. And across rural communities, people whisper the same words. The land fights back, and so do we. ACT 13, Final Reflection. The sun sets over the farmlands. The trenches glow orange under the dying light. A child runs along the edge, laughing, the field safe, the crops untouched. This is not just a story of pigs and people. It's a story of resilience. Of how we fall, adapt, and rise again. In the battle against the aggressive and intelligent super pig, shovels replace guns, trenches replace fences, and hope replaces fear. These earthen walls are not just barriers. They are the lines that separate despair from survival. Vendor and wildlife. What do you think? Should humanity return to the old ways, or keep chasing modern solutions that sometimes fail us? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story opened your eyes, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Vendor and Wildlife. The home of real stories from the front lines of nature and survival. Stay aware. Stay inspired. And remember, even in the modern world, sometimes the oldest tools hold the strongest power.